Live from the internet, this is the Crystal Chronicles, your official Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, episode 27, recorded on October 17th, 2018. We skipped 2 years from last week to this week. That is the time compression that is available to us all in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. I am your impromptu host, Reverend Mark Myers, and I am joined by my good friend and yours, Mino. Hello, Mino.
Hey, Mark.
We, as you can notice...
I forgot that you do public speaking for a living. You're pretty good at this.
I do public speaking. You may not realize it by listening to the show, but I do public speaking for a living. You notice that we are minus our French-Canadian host, Pierre. He has started a new job, which we're all very excited about, which he's very excited about, and he is adjusting to the new hours and new stress of that new career, and so he is turned in a little bit early tonight, but we wanted to make sure to get out this amazing content because I don't know if you knew, Mino, but there's been a little bit of, what do you want to call it? Controversy this week.
Oh, tell me about it.
Well, let's start with some news, and there's not a lot of news. But for some starters, we had a mobile community stream. And that was from the last stream, I believe. That was not a recent stream. That was from a while ago. But because we must have gotten the rewards, we got 5 armor tokens and 10 draw tickets, which is super awesome. And encourage everyone to go grab those free items when you log in. Of course, if you've already logged in, you probably already have those. We also got an announcement for character adjustments for our favorite hot dog eating punching machine, Zell. And he's got a whole host of character adjustments in. He is going to be part of this event tonight that's launching the SID event. So I think we already had his 35 CP, right? We had both his weapons.
Coming it out tonight. That's why
it is coming.
Buff.
Okay.
Do you have the game open? Can you walk us through the buffs?
Yes, I do have the game open. So Duel is getting a buff. Duel is granted when using command abilities Punch, Rush, or Booyah. Attack will be further raised. Duel will now be granted before execution of the above abilities instead
That's
of
always nice.
After, which is super nice, right? Brave Attack will become Brave Attack Plus when Duel is active. Brave Attack Plus Melee Brave Attack with high turn rate. Duel raises attack and upgrade abilities. Command abilities Punch, Rush, Booyah. Base use count increased from 5 to 7. We always like to hear those abilities used. And 6 turns Max Brave up 2 will now be granted to self. And 3 turns Defense Down 1 will now be applied to target. I love that Defense Down buff, especially with these high defense bosses.
Yeah.
Command ability... go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say... So I haven't personally gotten a chance to try out this new Zell yet, but from what I've been hearing, it's a pretty significant buff. And his 35 CP is coming out tonight,
yeah.
So I'm sure he's going to be pretty viable. What's his specialty? AoE,
yes.
HP damage? Or he's pretty flexible, actually, right? Let's see,
yeah,
he can do lightning damage,
yeah.
Fire, right? Lightning and fire?
Let me...
And some range, some single target, some AoE. I think he's like a switch hitter.
Yeah, Punch Rush.
I know an embarrassing little amount about Zell. I don't think I've used him personally at all.
Yeah, the original one's the 4 hit, and of course you can't see what it. And then Lightning is Booyah's normal, and then they switch. But that's not the end of the buffs.
He's basically a version of Prish, right? Kind of.
Yeah, I don't think he has as many elements as Prish.
But he has that whole system, I think, where his moves become a second set of moves every time he does the first set.
Correct. Yeah, his moves do change. Command ability Burning Rave increases caster's brave on attack before multiplying. And passive ability Speed Duel. Speed will be further raised while Duel is active. So those are all the buffs we are having in store for us tonight. So, yeah, so if you are a Zell player and you love that hot dog eating machine, please let us know, and we will tell you how good he is once we get a handle of him. See what's going on. I was hoping Pierre
Yep.
was going to be here because I don't know if you were able to catch it, but Pierre went on stream Friday when his day off and went and actually beat some lost chapters.
I saw some of it. Did you?
Yeah, I caught some of the early attempts.
Unfortunately, I know he did not show his Sephiroth clear on stream.
Oh, yeah.
He screenshotted me later, but I would have loved to see that. I think he beat Seymour, and actually, that's the only thing I saw. I don't know what else he did.
Yeah, I think he did Squall. I think he beat Squall.
Oh, yes, yes,
I'm
yes. You're
not
right.
sure if he did Eiko or not, but he was looking at those early ones, and then he may have gone back and done some more. So we'll have to hear from Pierre where he is the next time he beats. But I was able to go back because, as you recall, last week I had not beaten the Lost Chapters, the new Lost Chapters. I had beaten all of them until then. But I was able to go back and beat the 3 Lost Chapters, and so I'll update you a little bit on my strategy for the current set of Lost Chapters. Mine for Seymour is going to look really similar because after a couple different attempts. Now, so before we go into this, I may have said, hey, I'm going to tackle the Lenna EX without Sephiroth, Sazh, Papillamo, whatever. I don't. It doesn't matter.
Did you really say that? Because that's insane.
Yeah, that's what I said, not knowing what the event was going into it last week. So
So now that you've actually tried it, do you think
that
it's possible to do?
that didn't happen, and we'll talk plenty about that.
Right, right, right.
But yes, as most, I think all of my runs at the Lost Chapters included Sazh. So I am sorry, my Sazhless friends, but I'm there. There are strategies without Sazh to beat these, but here are my with Sazh strategies. I used Vaughn, Eiko, and Sazh with a friend Vaughn and Ifrit for Seymour. And the big thing was finding a friend Vaughn that was worthwhile. And I do have
Do
in
you
the
not have any good friend Vons?
I do
Really?
now. I do now. So it wasn't until really yesterday that I understood what the difference between a 3-turn summon friend and a 5-turn summon friend. So would you be so kind to enlighten maybe those other people out there who have no idea how to get a 5-turn summon versus a 3-turn summon? Because until yesterday, I
Sure,
had
Mark.
no idea.
I'm surprised you've never asked anybody this whole time, honestly. That is one of the most asked questions from new players I've definitely seen. But for those that don't know, um, when you have a mutual follower, a mutual friend, you're both following each other, then I believe you can see it on the interface, right? It's two Mughals facing each other, I believe,
Yes,
when you have the
yes.
assist. Yes. Then you know that assist will be 5 turns. But if you're following someone that's not following you back, then it's only going to be 3 turns.
Yes. So I learned that.
By what? Random trial and error?
No, I looked it up eventually. I'm like, well, what the hell? How do you get a 5-turn? Because I needed a 5-turn summon, a 5-turn friend for this Lenna EX because the 3-turn was not cutting it. So I'm like, why? And I would have probably not even noticed if I woke up this morning because I had already friended 2 or 3 characters that I needed for the event. So, but yeah, so that's good to know if you hadn't figured it out like me. There you go. So yeah, so Seymour, yeah, I don't think that was too radically difficult. Those are the night behemoths, right? Yeah, and
Yeah, what did you think? Easiest of the bunch? That was
I
my opinion.
I actually thought Sabin was the easiest of the bunch, but
Really
yeah,
interesting.
but Seymour was close. I thought Ace was the hardest for me.
I can't wait to hear your Sabin
Yeah,
run. That's
yeah.
coming up next.
Yeah, so Ace, my first run was Ace, Sephiroth, and Zazh with a friend Van and Ifrit. And Ace died around turn 115, and it took me 121 turns to clear. So
You made it without a gem revive, right?
I made it without a revive. I did not revive. That is correct.
That's all that matters. In fact,
Yeah,
that's more impressive that you had a dead ace
yeah.
that whole.
Yeah, that's fine. He didn't need to survive. And then I went back. I don't have it here in my notes for some reason, but I went back and did that again to get the clear. Let me see if I can find it through my notes. What would have that been? That's dinner. Yeah, I did Kane. I brought Kane. Kane,
Yeah, good,
Sephiroth,
good
and
choice.
Zaz.
Good
So
choice.
with
Good
a
choice.
friend Von, and that was easy. My high score on that ended up being 31,000. So my high score on the other one, I have no idea. I think it was 33,000 with that. So
So you really think Ace is the most difficult? Because I feel like once you got the trick of keeping the turtles in their
oh
shell,
yeah,
they
no,
really didn't do anything.
no, yeah, I think it was just trying to balance the balance their damage. It was only difficult because I was using an ace with no weapons, right?
Right, right, right.
You know, and surprisingly,
But I mean,
he did fine. I mean, he did great.
he does.
I'm
Like,
It's fine.
I just had a single 0 LB 15 CP, and a Mega Burst would burn the turtles easy. Like that would be a break,
Oh yeah,
guaranteed.
no, but yeah, I mean, even without his weapon, he was doing decent damage. So that's great. I like that when you can bring in the characters without having their gear, and they are useful in the events. You know, I don't
Yeah.
expect that to be the case other times. So Sabin, the ghosts. I brought Sephiroth, Zaz, and Eiko, and I brought a friend Sephiroth and a Ifrit. So
Interesting.
here's where it was different from your approach. I
Okay.
brought my friend summon in during the Avion Dragon round.
Wow, that is interesting. Okay.
So that was, you said, I think on the show last week, that wave was harder than the actual ghost wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my thought behind that was, okay, if that wave is so hard, I'm going to bring my friend Sephiroth in, and I'm going to spend 5 turns killing that dragon, and that's exactly what I did. I just
Five
Octaslash,
turns. Pretty
Octaslash,
efficient.
Octaslash, Octaslash, and I killed the dragon dead. And so by the time I got to the ghost, Eiko with her smite is ridiculous. I took my 1-2 turn, summoned, and I was able to get at least 2 of the 3 ghosts under 50 in that initial summon. And once you get all the ghosts under 50%, it's over, right? I mean,
Right, right,
they're not
right.
doing anything. So it took me 58 turns to beat that. I believe. Yeah, my turn count was 58 with 3 breaks, and my total score was 58,285.
And that's pretty impressive. I guess
Yeah.
as long as you have an insanely strong DPS, you can burn them down
Yeah.
pretty easy.
Yeah, you have to. But, I mean, Eiko obviously helps because she's generating so much more brave with her when she's fighting an enemy that's weak to holy.
Right.
Yeah. So
Good stuff. Good stuff.
that's my strategy. But yeah, I think the big takeaway that's maybe different than yours is, there's potential if you have the DPS, and there's King now, and there's Zell tonight, and so there's other, and Sid too is pretty good DPS.
Yeah,
So
that's why I said, oh yeah, and I think that no, the ghosts aren't weak to win. Never mind. But the night behemoths are, right?
yeah,
And I think that's what I was saying in the beginning. A lot of people were saying the LCs were way too hard when they came out, but I said there's 2 banners coming out with more powerful characters to make it even easier, and that seems to be the case for sure.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
And then the best thing is, I'm sure you already knew this, but I know Pierre's takeaway when he was doing the LCs he told me, I don't know why I never tried this before, because I clearly have the tools to do it. He was just intimidated by the difficulty, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that
So that
brings
wraps us.
us
Yeah.
oh, that brings us to the event we've been dying to talk about, A Devoted Heart. So, do you want to take us through our new character, Lena? Um, yeah.
Sure. Lenna, I think. What do you think about Lenna? I think, in one word, I think she's a good character. She's very niche, but man, that is a powerful ability to be able to 100% prevent debuffs. That's gonna help in a lot of situations. Any Marlboro fight, and I bet a lot of money that within the next few months we're gonna see a lot of debuff bosses as well coming up.
Yeah. Well, you would think just in terms of normal Final Fantasy, I mean, almost all Final Fantasies get to a point where there's just tons of debuffs. The bosses are just, crazy with debuffs because that's one way they can deal with the power creep and, fast leveling and all of that. I was on Discord earlier and some people were talking about, because you may not have Yuna, although you can grab her 15 CP for free right now. But Lena is a good substitute when you're fighting those Marlboro battles.
Yeah.
Because she can jump
Did
in.
you pull for her? Did you get her weapon?
I did not pull for her. No, I have not pulled on that banner. So
Oh wow, then even better because you were able to complete it without pulling on that banner.
yeah,
That's an accomplishment. It really.
yeah. No, I think she's good. Like I said, I think she's niche, but we did. I mean, I'm not empty handed. We did get her 15 CP weapon. So,
Yeah.
but it is the 35 CP that gives her. It is the 35 CP that gives her the AOE. What do we want to call that? Debuff, avoidance, evade, that kind of
Yeah.
ability. It's called Astra in Final Fantasy Record Keeper. But
Oh, okay,
yeah,
good to know.
the ability to evade debuffs, which is super helpful, obviously.
So, well, I mean, so you're right. I think I personally wanted Lenna, and this event made me rage pull 50k gems to try to get her because I was like, she's gonna be useful in the future, right? She
Yeah.
has to, and I had no luck, and because of that, I wasn't able to complete all the score challenges for the event. But let's get into that right now. Do you want to talk about the banner as a whole first before we jump into the event,
Yeah,
or do you want to save
let's
that for
talk.
after?
Yeah, let's talk about the banner. Yeah.
Okay. So, what did you think about King's new weapon?
Well, I think King's, probably the best DPS right now. I mean, wouldn't you think?
I'm not sure. I think it might be synergy bias right now. Seeing
Okay.
how much damage he does in his own event, with the
It's
boosted
always
stats.
it's always so hard when you're in their own event because
Right,
every
exactly.
character comes out. But King is definitely a lot better than he was.
Yeah, of
and
course.
I'm guessing he's a lot better than a lot of other DPS characters currently.
Yes.
Is he the
Yes.
best?
I remember
You know.
the argument was comparing him to Sephiroth, and I mean, so King has a lot of skill uses, a ton,
Yes.
but I think each of his hits will do less than a single Sephiroth hit. So he'll do more damage over time. But if you need damage like right now, for example, I would never use King as an assist unit. I'm not going to call him in,
No.
have him like reload and then shoot 4 times and then leave. That's pretty useless.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I think he's solid for a long term. If all the X fights are going to be as long as this one, then he's definitely going to be useful.
Yeah, and like you said, there's going to be longer fights, and he does have a lot of utility because every time he reloads, he gets all of his abilities back. If you don't know how that's how Zell works, he has the ability to attack, and then when he gets reload, he gets all those abilities back. The nice thing about his 35 CP is it turns his main ability into a Brave plus HP attack, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, he gets a ton better than he was. Is he better than
Definitely, and I think
Sephiroth?
that's going to be a pattern coming up in all.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure Zell's going to be a ton better when his 35 CP drops tonight.
Right. Right. The question, I guess my question is, and this isn't just about this banner, it's, so we're getting these end of line 50-50 characters, and they are much better than some of the 50-50 characters we've had. The question is, are they going to be still competitive when the Awakening characters come out?
Ooh.
How long? Well,
I don't
how
think
long's
they'll
King
all
gonna
hold up.
go? Yeah,
I
right.
don't think King's gonna last very long, to be honest. Like, I think he's gonna have lasting power, but I think each of his individual hits are not gonna be that impressive.
Right.
Um, but I think this is a great banner for beginners. I think
Yes.
I was getting that question a lot this week too. If you just started, these three, Ramza, Lenna, and King, are all very solid to have on a team. Hell, the three of them
That's a good team.
themselves make a pretty
That's a
well
good
rounded.
team. Yeah.
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 So if you're just starting out, you can't go wrong with this banner at
Yeah.
all.
If you're a new
So
player, just like the Sephiroth banner, if you're a new player and you're looking for some pulls, getting a full set of weapons for these three characters is going to cover you through all of the basic content, so you can build up your gems, so you can pull on better banners in the future.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with Lena. Not only is she, not only does she have a lot of utility during for the normal game, but she's also going to take you through all of those Marlboro encounters and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, and if we follow the Japanese schedule, which is always a big if, I'm pretty sure we're not going to do it exactly. I know that Lenna has a few fights into the Awakening era where she's the best pick just by being able to avoid debuffs. Period. She's the only character in the game to this day in the Japanese version that could do it. So I don't think she gets power creeped as hard as everybody else coming
Sure.
up.
Yeah, any character that's going to have a unique ability is going to have some lasting power, right?
Exactly. And when she awakens, it's very strong.
Yeah,
So,
right, like
I
everybody
think
else,
she's a
right?
good investment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the event. I'll go first because I'm pretty sure you did better than I did.
Go ahead.
I got really lazy. I know that. Okay, so the argument for this event is that everyone knows by now it is so hard and brutal and unforgiving, and it feels a little unfair because it feels like it's made specifically for Lenna. As in, if you have Lenna, she makes the fight a piece of cake. If you're able to nullify every status effect the dragon's throwing out, it's not even a fight anymore. The dragon has no mechanics at that point. You're just wailing on it. And so I know a lot of people are salty about the pull, and I was too, because like I said, I put 50k gems in, no Lenna. So I was going to give up, but I thought I'd go for the clear, and all it took me was a Lenna support coming in and making sure I just brought it in before the second big charge, and it nullified those status effects and healed me back after the HP attack, and I was able to clear no problem. So I think that if you have good DPS and Sazh, which is unfortunate, but I think Sazh is a
Yes.
must in this fight. I don't think I've seen any strategy without him. Yeah, and then you can just have Lenna cheese that one mechanic, get the clear, collect your 400-500 gems easy.
Yep.
Even if you have to spend 100 gem revive, it's still a huge net gain. So I think that if you're discouraged to try it, getting a Lenna support will get you the clear. I ended up barely with a complete. I was barely above the score requirement. I was running. Let's see, who was I running? It was Sazh, King, and who was my third? I cannot remember for the life of. Oh, right, Lenna.
You had a
Sazh,
Lenna.
King,
Yeah.
Lenna, and then my Lenna only had 15
Right.
CP, so I just used her as a brave shaver basically, because
Right.
her mastered version of rapid fire is pretty
It's great.
impressive
Yeah. No,
against
it's
the
great.
dragon.
Yeah.
And with just the 15 CPs for King and Lenna, I was able to get a clear. So that's my really budget team and really lazy team. But I know that Mark did a lot better and put a lot more thought into his team. So if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, obviously, I think Lenna, King, Zaz are the champion team here. If you have them on your main squad. Now, the problem with Ramza, so you said, Zaz is almost imperative because when the
Yeah,
dragon,
and I think I've seen a Ramza clear too, but it's just,
it's
to be
it's
honest,
much
his
harder.
Saz's boost is just that much bigger.
Well,
I don't think Ramza can compare. Even though
Zaz's
he's
boost is better, but there's also more boost, so it knocks off the negative boost from the dragon.
yeah, that's a good point. You know what? That's a very good point,
So
actually.
Ramza only gives
And
your
that's a
characters
good thing to
two.
throw into the
Yeah.
strategy is to wait until you get
Yes.
debuffed and then put on the.
Yes. So I went with a no Lenna clear. So I did not have Lenna in my party, and I did not have Lenna as a friend. But, of course, I had several other very powerful characters with me. And if you have this other character that I brought as a friend, you can have him on your team and bring Lenna as support, and it's going to work just fine. So my team was Sazh, Sephiroth, and Eiko with Tidus friend, and I brought Ifrit. So the first four waves are not that difficult. I used one Eiko buff. I did not use any of Zaz's buffs. I used one, maybe two Octaslashes, and I certainly did not bring Tidus in. The wave right before the final wave, I buffed Eiko and Sephiroth. So Sazh, Eiko, and Sephiroth were at max buff with 5, 6 turns, or 5, 6, or 7 turns going into the last round.
I'm actually surprised you buffed right before the final round because usually the dragon on its second turn will throw out that double debuff that will push something off. I feel
Yeah.
like.
So I'm not sure I needed to buff before, like you just said. But I was trying to give myself some early DPS with the Octaslashes and with Eiko. So I did basically one Smite, one Octaslash, one whatever the HP plus attack is that Sazh uses, his one that he gets, and then I immediately brought in Tidus. And so Sephiroth's Genova's at 5. Tidus is doing speed down, defense down, and attack down. What's his other debuff? He does 3 debuffs. The big ones
Speed,
are the
attack,
speed.
defense, right?
Yeah, speed, attack, defense. Obviously, all 3 of those are particularly helpful. Pretty much before the second, and so I brought Tidus in. Then I buffed Tidus with Sazh just so he was doing some, because every ounce of damage is important in this
Yes.
fight, and you're not going
Right.
to try to do it very long or you will die. So, like, it's super. You're not playing the long game in this one, because you will be dead if you do. Because if the dragon makes it to that second rage attack, you're pretty much dead. So yeah, you have to be.
That is. You're right. So that's the strategy without Lenna. I'll
Yes.
jump into that, but with Lenna, you can eat that second
Oh
charge
yeah.
attack.
Oh yeah. No,
But
you
you're right.
cannot. Without
Without her,
Lenna,
yeah,
without
yeah,
Lenna, you cannot live. You cannot live through the second charge attack,
yeah.
or unless you have characters with like 6,000 HP, then you could barely live. Like Sazh could live through it, but he had like 200 HP, and my Sazh for some reason has like 6,000 HP. But Sephiroth and Eiko obviously did not, so they died. They had
Oh
under
yeah, glass
5,000.
cannon.
Yeah. Yeah, so then I called Ifrit, and the big thing is just to time Ifrit right, and aim with Sazh, fervent blow with Sephiroth, and then have Eiko jump back in and smite with Eiko, and basically try to get some extra damage through launch. So I think I had 2 launches for over 30,000 damage.
Nice.
So I mean,
Did you count that out, man?
I just tried to do it the best I could. I'm like,
But
okay,
I
I
mean, if you
think
got
I can.
30,000 out of each of them, then you did
Yeah.
a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, I'm trying to get the right number. Okay, here's the, it's not, I'm not very good at the exact math with that, but I kind of have a feel for when they're going to be launched. So,
Yeah.
um, Like, that sounds weird, but it's like, I got a feeling that they're going to be launched. But you kind of have a sense. I've been playing long enough. Kind of have a sense of how the mechanic works.
Just for let's see, how does it work? Oh yeah, just for clarification for any viewers out there who are wondering. So I believe it's 40 points to launch.
Yeah.
And each attack, like hitting it, brave or HP, anything, counts as 2 points. If you get a break, it's an extra point. So if you hit them and break them, that's 3 points total. And then every new turn is -1.
Yep.
So basically it's like +2, -1, +2, -1, +3 if you get a break. So it is a little complicated, but it's still very possible if you're anal. And you have I think when I was trying to do the vanilla LC back in the day and I was relying on launches, I was manually mathing it out as I was, as I was attacking.
Well, and, with Genova 5 and the speed down buff from Tidus, the dragon is slow, right? I mean, he's not getting a lot of turns, but he really only needs about 6. Like, so I brought Tidus in like second turn, right? And he gives, so he had 5 rounds, and then he gives the dragon 6 rounds of debuff. That dragon was still debuffed when he died, because if I had let the dragon have 6 rounds after Tidus left, I would be dead. Like, that's the strategy at that point. You need to kill the dragon, or you will die. So it took me 116.
How many retries you do? I'm curious.
Oh, let's see. I tried it. I tried it once. Well, I tried it several times without that team. It just didn't work.
I think I saw that on Twitter.
So I tried it once with a 3-turn Tidus, and I got down. The dragon was almost dead, and he just killed me because he got that second attack off.
Was that on purpose, choosing a 3-turn Tidus?
No, I just didn't realize the mechanic at that point. So,
Got it.
And so then I had to wait. I had to wait till this morning, I believe, to have my friend list refresh.
Yes.
So, or I just didn't stay up that late last night. So I got up this morning and did it. And I don't think I reset. I don't think I did a soft reset. I think once I did that, I was able to do the run fine once I had a 5-turn Tidus. So.
Once again, I am impressed, Mark. I think I honestly think you're a better player than me. People may praise my theory, but you always get the better score when you put your mind to it.
Yes,
I'm very impressed. I'm also lazy, though. I also just go for the clear and stop.
I hear you. No, I hear you.
You've consistently shown that you get high scores.
Yeah, and my score was certainly not the 44,000 it takes to get the bonus, but I did get 35,000, which is more than you need for the score clear. And of course, I got without KOs, under 130 turns, and under 8,000 damage. So I'm not sure. I did take, because I got hit with the first one, so I did take some damage. So
is that every reward except for the final 44K?
No, I don't believe so. Let me see. Let me pop my game back open. I think there are others.
I'm just curious if you're going to try to go back for it later.
I don't know. So there's a 37,000, a 40,000, and a 44,000.
Yeah. Okay. 37 might be within your reach.
37 might be within my reach. I don't know about 40. I don't really.
40's a stretch. I'll agree with you there. But I said, people have done it with your team.
If I really sit down and I do the math on the launch, I might be able to get some extra, because I don't think I made a lot of mistakes. Now, there might be some RNG that I might, get a better, target a better character or anything else. But yeah,
might try. Well, is your Tidus geared out?
I don't have Tidus. I brought a friend.
So you don't have your own?
I do not have one. No.
Okay, I was gonna say you might be able to get a better score if you brought your own and brought a Lenna support.
I think I could probably get a higher score, right? If I had.
Yeah.
Yes. If I brought Tidus and I brought Lenna support, Yes, I think definitely I could. I think you could probably at least get 40,000, maybe the
Yeah, yeah,
44. Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. So
So then, okay, so we talked about our strategies. Oh, and I wanted to throw in. I know we're so unorganized, or at least me. I'm really unorganized. I wanted to throw in a big tip was most people like to summon right before that first charge, right when the dragon's targeting himself, so that you get in all your hits before the defense up.
yeah,
So that's a very common place to summon and get your damage out.
yes, yes.
But with that done, let's go into the design of this fight. Mark, did you think this was a well balanced fight? Especially I'd say you're a hardcore player. I'm pretty sure you call yourself a hardcore player. Uh, as a hardcore player, did you think the difficulty of this fight was?
Yeah. So the first time I attempted this fight, I probably would have said because I think I wrote some discouraging things in the outline the first time I attempted this fight. But then then I went back and because it was super hard. This
Yes.
dragon debuffs you like crazy. His defense is through the roof. He's got way too much HP with that crazy defense, and he has these crazy moves which kill you. And you cannot survive that attack down, right? So I mean,
Yeah, I think
like,
it's huge. I want to say it's like 80%
yeah,
or something.
it is a massive attack down. You cannot survive it if it sticks, right? Unless you
Yeah.
have there's just no way you can have a throwaway character on your team. You need everybody doing something.
Right.
So I think there was a lot of early dissent because this is a cash grab. You have to have Lenna to beat this. You have to have King, or you have to do this. You have to do that. And so then it takes some time and you try some different things. And then people beat it with Lena friend. And then, of course, I'm giving you a strategy without Lena. Now, of course, it's with Sazh and Sephiroth and everything else. But, this is this is the reality. This is an EX battle. So everything you get in this is bonus.
Fair. Yeah.
You get a free weapon, you get the character, right? You get the character for free. You get the 15 CP weapon, you get 2 armors by just being able to clear the 50. And then you get a whole bunch of bonuses for being able to do co-op. Co-op's not that tough. I mean, it's not particularly fun, but it's not that tough. And so this is kind of like this is the part of the event that is geared towards the hardcore players. So it should be difficult. Now that being said, if you went on the banner and you pulled on this banner and you got Lena and King, this is beatable. This is fairly doable. Still hard, but not very challenging. Without them, it's very challenging, but it's also beatable. So at some point, I'm having a trouble being too angry because I feel like this is what it should be. The quest level 80 EX battle should be difficult. It should be easier if I have the banner character. The banner character should be geared towards it, and this fight is geared towards Lena's niche. That makes sense, right? That's okay. I'm fine with that. And they're giving these extra, the 37, the 40, the 44. They're giving those extra, for those people who spent. So, if I spent 50,000 gems, okay. Well, now I get, a few summon tickets back and 500 gems back. And, I didn't spend anything on this banner. So, those 500 extra gems I'm not going to lose any sleep over those, right?
Yeah. I think you make a great point. You make some great points. It's actually convincing me a bit. I'll still give my original argument, but you're convincing me a bit. You're right. This is all extra. EX is short for extra. This is extra content that wasn't in the Japanese version. I'll give you that. These rewards weren't in the Japanese version, so it's all extra. So I mean, I think you're right. I agree with you that this is an incentive to people who pulled on this banner, and that's a fair way to look at it. But let me ask you, would you like this difficulty going forward for all X's, or do you think they could pull it back a bit? Or hell, do you even think they could be a little tougher on us going forward compared to this difficulty?
I would need to see. I don't know if there's a way that they tell. I would need to know the number of people that cleared this.
I'm willing to bet it's probably the least amount of people yet for
That have cleared
events.
an event. I agree. Um, you know,
Okay, so my thoughts on it were, so I agree with a lot of points you said, but let me play devil's advocate just so it's not
please.
us quote unquote more dedicated players weighing in. I mean, we need to hear from casual players or players who don't have the kind of time or resources to put in. So playing devil's advocate, I think that it's just a little unfair because Lenna's niche is so unique. We just talked about it. She's the only character in the game to have this. So to build a fight around it means there is no alternative to this than Lenna. For example, to talk about the future a bit, Sid's event is going to be about two robots that constantly buff each other. So if you have other dispellers, which there are in the game, or other big damage dealers, you could probably get away without pulling on this banner. Maybe. The X isn't out yet. We haven't tried it. But I'm just saying the gimmick of the fight is dispelling buffs.
Yeah.
And Sid's not unique in that. Whereas Lenna's debuff prevention, that's 100% unique. So there's no substitute for her, basically. So I think that's a little unfair, maybe, for most players. And the second thing is that, judging by all the people who have reported clears, they all either use synergy characters, especially Lenna, or they did the really strong strategy right now, which is combining Sephiroth with Tidus for that double stacking slow, so that the boss basically just doesn't get to play the game. He just sits there and gets wailed on for most of the part. But those are the only two combinations that have been seen clearing this so far. And what that means is if you wanted the max score rewards, you had to have pulled this week or last week. So
Yeah.
it's like a 2 week window to for the meta to allow you to clear it. I think that maybe they might have overtuned this fight, but if every X event demanded you to have pulled within the last 2 weeks, I think that might be a little strict. I know on Reddit there's been a lot of complaints already of people a little turned off on the difficulty. I agree with Mark. This is extra. It should not be viewed as mandatory, but it does say a lot if players are discouraged
Oh, yeah.
because they're being forced to use a handful of characters to see all the content in the game. So I think they could ease up a little. Honest, I'm a masochist of a gamer. If I agree with Mark. If I didn't pull and I didn't get max score, I'm okay with that. That seems fair to me. But I know not everybody thinks like that,
Yeah.
and I think they could have turned pulled it back just a little bit. I mean, I think if they reduced the dragon's HP just a bit, it would have been a little more fair.
Oh, yeah.
300k HP is how much the dragon had, by the way,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a really high number.
It's a
That's
lot.
meant for people like King and Sephiroth who do way
Yeah.
too much damage right now. I don't think anyone else comes close to matching their damage yet.
Right,
And
and if that was it, like you said, even then it's King and Sephiroth.
yeah,
Then add on top, you need buffers like Sazh.
yeah,
Add on top
yes,
of that, you need somebody like Lenna to or Tidus. Uh, yeah, so I mean, there's no doubt this fight was probably the hardest fight we've had in the game to date.
yes,
Super niche needs to beat it. So there's not a lot of different strategies. More strategies than like the first few days it was
yeah,
out. So
yeah.
there are
Mhm.
there are more, like you said last week, there are more strategies coming, and
Right.
that's wonderful.
I
But
maybe the new banners might help too. I mean, the
and
new
yeah,
Sid
there's
banner,
there's going to
maybe.
be a new banner, and that could help. Um, I'm not sure that that will be the case,
Yeah,
but
I don't think so. The only way I can think of this helping is that Sid has 2 framed buffs.
Yes.
So if he ever gets debuffed, he just needs Sazh to throw on more buffs to push everything on. Like with one Sazh, he can get completely cleansed.
Yeah.
That's the only way I see. And his DPS is pretty massive, so he might be able to dish out some damage. But that's the only thing I see. But it's a long shot.
Yeah.
but
Well,
but yeah, go ahead.
no,
Did you have
no.
something to add?
No, I didn't. I was just going to say, let us know how
Oh,
everybody else thinks about it.
right. I mean, I'm gonna. Well, one is. Oh, so I wanted to bring this up. I asked Square Enix Joshua. He said this was okay to bring up, but working with the data miners, we were looking into the data of the game.
Yeah.
It seems like um, I wish we could put pictures up, but we don't have Pierre. So maybe we'll link this in a supplemental.
Sure.
But do you have access to our Discord chat? I copy and pasted the stats in there, Mark. If you scroll up.
Oh,
But
yes.
basically, what they did was they took the boss from the LC that came out in Japan just about a month ago, right? And
Yeah.
then they tuned the stats from there. So this is actually what the LC90 fight would look like in Japan. So like almost a year down the road, an LC90. What they did was they reduced the HP and made it 1 dragon instead of 2. This
Mm.
fight was originally 2 dragons with 500,000 HP. But here it's 1 dragon with 300,000 HP, which is still a massive amount, I think, but the attack and defense stats are of a tier we've never seen before. And
Yeah,
I'm sure
geez.
everyone has felt that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So I don't know if this is I'm hoping this was a one-off situation, this kind of tuning, and maybe the next few events, because the Sid and Rydia fights are already set in stone. They're in the data, they're in the game, and
Yeah.
they all got made at the same time. We're hoping this kind of difficulty was a one-off. I'm sure Sid's going to be difficult, but I hope it's not going to be as restricting. So for all those discouraged, let's stick with the game and see what happens. This might be a one-off thing because this is the first time they attempted to tune it so difficult, I think.
Right. Yeah.
All right, and I'm that's all I have to say on the subject.
All
So
right.
what was our next?
Yeah, so our discussion topic for this week, and this is, I think, coming from Pierre. Should Square Enix force character limitations for the wanted boosted characters option for co-op? I haven't been doing a lot of
Ooh,
co-op with this Lena event because I've been catching up on my lost chapters and then trying to beat this Lena event. But yeah, so would you like to see Square actually fine tune the rooms, the wanted boosted characters, or casual or fun or whatever it is, just for fun, co-op rooms?
this is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I think they're fine the way they are. Maybe they could even get rid of the extra room because what I think is this separates the player base basically, right? You're
Yeah,
queuing for one room or the other. There's no overlap. So you're dividing the player base in half, first of all. And second of all is there's a chance that there will be banners and events where nobody wants to pull the boosted characters. And if you queue up for it, you're not going to find anyone if it's locked to just that. I know people would prefer to only get boosted characters when they search boosted characters, but the reality is there are chances that you could just find nobody.
yeah,
And
that's right. And that really sucks
I
when you have a treasure book active.
yeah. And honestly, I've found in my experience, I don't know if this is the same for you, Mark, but I find less rooms when I queue boosted only
I do as well.
than
Yeah,
um yeah. So what I've been doing lately is honestly just queuing for fun.
yeah,
And honestly, I still see a ton of boosted characters in for fun.
yeah,
And everyone I know just queues for fun. And that's why I think having 2 rooms, not only did it not work, but if anything, it just reduced the number of rooms. I don't think it's working. I don't think there's a point to it. Very few people I know actually use that anymore, the boosted room. So I think that as is the best way to do it. If you really lock it in, it's just not going to be that many rooms. But what do you think, Mark?
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you. I think I think it was a good idea. I think they had our best interest in mind when they made
Oh,
that
oh, oh.
change.
Sorry, let
But
me butt in here. I want to point. I want to point out that in Japan they had 4 rooms actually.
oh wow,
So one is for fun, one is boosted only, one was hardcore, and another was trying to get all the rewards.
wow,
Right, and then apparently doing their research said that they asked around and they took feedback and they only brought us 2 rooms because in Japan these were the only 2 rooms that were used. Like the trying to get the rewards room was pretty empty because is that do you really need a room for that?
yeah,
And if you
right,
do, you're only going to use it once.
yeah,
And then the like a hardcore room, what does that mean?
exactly,
So they reduced it to 2 because they thought 4 was too much and was already dividing the community
yeah,
too
right,
much. Now here, I think we might not even need the 2. But
yeah.
but continue. I just wanted to put that perspective out there.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. Like I said, I agree with you. I'm not sure the two helps. I certainly don't think it's going to help to have a, restricted boosted character because there's going to be a lot of events where really you just don't want them. Um, you're gonna want somebody
Yeah.
else. You're gonna want a Zaz or a K Sith or a
Right.
Selfie or a Rem. I mean, you're gonna want somebody else or Laylee. I mean, that's going to be part of the medal, right? Too. So yeah, I don't think so. All right, question of the week as we end up here. We've been talking about this all night. How important is 100% completion to you, and will falling behind in an event impact your overall game experience?
Okay, I got this one. This one's easy for me. This is the first X event that I didn't. This is the first time in the game that I haven't completed everything. And actually, that's not true. I did not finish Vanilla LC90 when that first came out.
Yeah, me
I had
neither.
to go back after the timed reward was gone, but I didn't mind because they gave us extra tokens
Yeah.
anyway. But um, at first it was a pride. That's why I rage pulled the 50k to try to get Lenna. I tried to rationalize it, but after 50k, my gem stash is still decently healthy. But I stopped and I said, it's not a big deal. This is gonna happen. It's a trap if you feel compelled to spend or pull because of this. So I'm okay with just treating it as extra rewards from here on out as difficulty gets harder.
Yeah. Again, there are so many games. This is what I love about Final Fantasy Record Keeper. This is what I love about Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. There are so many games that are gotcha for the character. And so you don't even get to have your character unless you pull. Brave Exvius is like that. Mobius is like that. Pretty much every other mobile game that has characters is like that. You have to pull for the character. And that's not how this is. And then you have to complete all the content to make the character better. For example, I play the Alchemist code. And so not only do you have to gotcha for the characters you want, and then gotcha more times so you can level up the characters, then you have to complete the events to get all the stuff for the characters to make them playable in the first place, right? So I mean, it's just this kind of pull you in, so you have to complete all the content. The only thing you're missing out if you don't do this EX is gems, weapon upgrade material, and some tickets.
And I want to throw in that's only to compensate you because you're spending more than you're getting back if you're
Exactly, always.
pulling specifically for it.
Yeah, if you can complete the 50, you're going to get Lena, you're going to get her 15 CP weapon, you're going to get 2 of her armor, and you can decide where to go from there, right? And so
Right.
I don't feel yes, you're missing some things.
When you
You're
put it that
always,
way,
but it's just not a
you're
lot.
yeah, you're you're reminding me that this game really is generous. They give you a working
Yes.
starter kit for every character.
Yeah, and that's going to be going forward. So, yeah, the game is generous, and you do get a lot of gems by just playing the game. And so you're talking, so I'm right now I'm missing out on 500 gems. Well, I'm back up to 40,000 after being 0 at the Sephiroth event, right?
Yeah.
It's like I don't, in the long term, that 500 gems is not a lot of gems. It's
Right.
nice, but is it worth pulling 50,000 for? Well, if I have a great character, yes, but if I don't, no. If I don't get any of the CP 35 weapons on the banner, I'll be real sad. And
I
that
like
could
how you
certainly
keep
happen.
bringing up the 50,000.
Yeah,
I feel so shameful
no,
every
you don't have to
time
be.
you specifically bring that number up.
It's just because you keep saying 50,000, so it's just in my head. If you spend 10,000 gems, that's what I meant to say, or 1,000, 100,000 gems. If you spend 10,000 gems times a million, if you spend a million, I don't know. Oh, all right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, before we move on, also, somebody online brought up a great point to me that I just realized, especially since you used to be a record keeper player. They said, in comparison, and I can see this, they said record keeper came out with insane challenges, like more insane challenges all the time, but it
Yes.
was more acceptable because I think the only reward was gil for the
Yeah.
extra hard stuff, and it was around permanently once it released.
Yeah.
And I think they said there's a little more pressure felt in Opera Omnia because these are limited time events, which
Yeah,
I can kind
I
of
think
see.
that's my big thing is these EX battles, the event EX battles are limited time. So it's not
Yeah.
like the Lost Chapters where you can go back and do them if you don't do them right away. Heretic and, these are limited time events, which means you have a limited amount of time to do it, which means the rewards are limited. So, but yeah, so I mean, I'm not throwing the game down and I will never play this game again.
Yeah.
But I also beat the event, so I can't get rid of it. Like I only got first place. I'll never play this game again.
Let's put a pin in this, guys, and come back to this conversation when there's an event that Mark can't
Yeah,
beat.
like I
I'm
hate
sure
this
one of
game.
these days, maybe.
I hate this game. It sucks. Yeah. All right. Well, upcoming events as it just launched 10 minutes ago. Space Dreams Final Fantasy VII Sid, and he is a jumping dragoon of a guy. He's basically better Kane right now. So
He's better in one. Okay, so to cover it, even though we'll save it for the next
yeah,
podcast, but the gist is he has really low base stats.
yes,
So he's a lot more reliant on his buffs. With buffs, he's as strong as Kane buff. They're about equal. The difference is that he has 2 unique buffs.
yes.
So Sazh's buffs shoot him up way higher than they could ever shoot Kane up.
Yep.
That's where Kane loses.
That's where Kane loses. Yeah, and you get Zell and Rem and their 35 CPs. Yeah, I at this point, Rem isn't really good, right? We have to kind of wait to her awakening.
Yeah, but again, she's not bad for people that don't have Sazh, which by this point I'm
True.
assuming is actually a lot of people because Sazh was so long ago.
Which is a sad number. So when will we get? When did Sazh actually come out? Which event?
The anniversary of the game.
Oh,
the 1
okay.
year anniversary.
Okay.
So that would be February for us if they debut it again, which they should.
Yeah.
In Japanese anniversary, every character came back
Wow.
on a banner. So
Wow.
you have a chance for every character that's been released.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, Space Dreams is tonight. World of Illusions Pandemonium is the 21st. And next week is the Mysterious Halloween events. And after that is Rydia back on a Monday, I believe. So a lot more coming up and a lot more we don't know about. But when we do, we will be sure to talk about it on the Crystal Chronicles. So you can check us out on tccpodcast.com. We do have an email. I don't know what it is. It's tccpodcast@gmail.com, I think. But you can always find us on Twitter at FFTCC Podcast. and we would be happy to share that. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. No, we're not on Instagram, but make sure you check us out on Twitch, on Discord, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Tinder. No, I mean Twitter and Facebook. Twitch. This has nothing to do with the show, but I'm doing a series at the church on money, and so I was talking about in-app purchases, and Tinder is the number one in-app purchase maker right now. Like they make the most money on in-app purchases, and I'm like,
Really?
I don't
wouldn't
even
guess
know
that.
what you spend money on in Tinder because I don't have Tinder because I'm married and been happily married for many years. So I'm like, what the hell do you spend
I can
money
answer
on?
that if you want.
I don't want to know. No, I don't want to know.
Okay, all right.
I'm happier not knowing what you spend money on in Tinder. So, kids, be careful about in-app purchases. That's all I'm going to say. So, for Mark and Mino and Pierre, we hope you guys have a great week. Keep pulling, keep fighting, and keep challenging those EXs. We'll see you next week.